300 years passed in the galaxy like water flowing down a river. The collective expanded into the space where humans used to be. New species joined their alliance. Trade routes connected thousands of worlds. Peace and prosperity spread across the stars. Humanity became a story that old beings told to young ones. A warning about ambition and pride. Then the stories faded. Then humanity was forgotten completely. But humanity had not disappeared. The surviving fleet had found a cluster of 14 star systems far beyond any charted space. The trip had taken 2 years, with people living in cramped ships, rationing food and water, wondering if they would ever find a home. When they finally arrived at the first habitable planet, people cried with relief. They named it New Earth, though it had purple oceans and orange skies. It was not home, but it was beautiful and safe. Over the next decades, humanity spread across all 14 worlds. They built cities and farms. They had children who had never seen the original Earth. They created a new civilization in hiding. But this time, they did things differently. Fleet Admiral Tay stood on Valhalla Station 300 years after the retreat. He was the great-great-grandson of the general who had advised President Nari. The Tai family had led humanity's military for generations, each one training the next for the war that would someday come. "Report," he ordered his officers. "The sword fleet is complete, sir. All 8,000 vessels are operational. The new weapons systems are performing beyond expectations." Tay nodded. 8,000 warships, each one more advanced than anything the collective had. Built in secret shipyards hidden in asteroid fields and gas giants. Built by people who had spent their entire lives preparing for one purpose. Going back. 300 years without contact with other species had changed humanity. Without needing to trade or negotiate or compromise, they had focused completely on advancement. Every brilliant mind worked on the same problems: how to survive, how to fight, how to win. Dr. Yuna worked in the Prometheus research complex on the planet they called Athens. She was humanity's leading scientist, the mind behind their greatest breakthroughs. Today she was reviewing the final tests on quantum spatial folding. "The theory is proven," she told her team. "We can fold space in ways the collective never imagined. Our ships can jump farther, faster, and more accurately than anything in the known galaxy." Her assistant, a young man named Quan, looked at the data with wide eyes. "Doctor, with this technology we could jump a fleet anywhere, even into the heart of enemy space." "Yes," Yuna said quietly, "but that's not what we'll use it for. We're not going back for revenge. We're going back to make sure no one can hurt us again." Quan did not look convinced, but he said nothing. Across the 14 worlds, every human knew the stories of the First Contact War. Children learned about Commander Day's last stand. Students studied the Battle of Titan's Gate. Everyone memorized the names on the memorial walls, listing the billions who had died or been left behind. The memorial on New Earth was the largest. It stretched for kilometers, black stone carved with names. At its center stood a statue of President Nari, her hand raised as if reaching for the stars. Every year on the anniversary of the retreat, humans gathered there. They stood in silence for 1 minute, remembering. Then they returned to their work. Commander Quan, descended from the assistant who had worked with Dr. Yuna, now trained the new generation of soldiers. He was a hard man, shaped by a lifetime of preparation for a war he had never fought. "You are the finest warriors humanity has ever produced," he told his troops. "You have trained in gravity 10 times stronger than Earth's. You have fought in simulations against enemies with superior numbers and technology. You have never lost because we have taught you that failure means extinction." The soldiers stood at attention, thousands of them, all young and strong and ready. "When we return to known space," Quan continued, "the galaxy will see us as the humans they remember. Weak, defeated, broken. Let them think that. Let them make the mistake of underestimating us. Because when they do, they will learn what 300 years of preparation has created." The soldiers did not cheer. They did not need to. They knew what they were. In the government buildings on New Earth, President Nari II reviewed the reports from every sector of human space. Industry was at maximum output. Food production exceeded needs. Energy was abundant from fusion reactors that the collective had not yet invented. Medical technology had advanced to the point where humans lived longer and healthier than ever before. Everything was ready. She called a meeting of the Council of 14. with representatives from each world. They gathered in a circular chamber, their faces serious. "We have prepared for 300 years, Nari II said. "Our grandparents and great-grandparents sacrificed everything to give us this moment. The question before us now is simple: is it time?" Admiral Tay spoke first. "The fleet is ready. Our intelligence indicates the collective has fractured into competing factions. They are not the united force that defeated us. We have the advantage," Dr. Yuna spoke next. "Our technology surpasses theirs in every measurable way. But with great power comes great responsibility. We must decide not just if we can return, but who we want to be when we do." Commander Kwan stood. "We were nearly exterminated. We have survived only by hiding like animals in the dark. I say we return with strength. We take back what was ours. We make sure the galaxy never forgets us again." The chamber filled with arguing voices. Some wanted peace. Some wanted justice. Some wanted revenge. Nari II let them debate for an hour. Then she raised her hand for silence. "We will put it to a vote," she said. "Not just this council, but every adult human across all 14 worlds. This decision belongs to all of us." The vote took a week to count. When the results came in, they were overwhelming. 98% voted yes. It was time to return. Preparations began immediately. The Sword Fleet began moving toward known space. Scout ships were sent ahead to gather intelligence. Diplomats dusted off old files about galactic politics and protocol. On Valhalla Station, Admiral Tay stood before the memorial wall in his private quarters. It listed the names of every person lost in the First Contact War. His own ancestors were there. "We're coming home," he whispered to the names. "And this time we're ready." Captain Leah received her orders with a mixture of excitement and fear. She would command the first ship to enter known space, the Whisper, a stealth reconnaissance vessel that used technology the collective could not detect. "Your mission is simple," Admiral Tay told her. "See but don't be seen. Learn everything you can about the current state of the galaxy. Report back. Do not engage unless absolutely necessary." Leah saluted. "Understood, sir." "When do we leave?" "Tomorrow." "You'll jump to the outer edge of what used to be human space. From there, you'll work your way toward the core. Expect to be gone for 3 months." That night, Leah walked through the memorial on Valhalla Station. She read the names and thought about all the people who had died believing humanity's story was over. "We're writing a new chapter," she said to the silent names. "You'll be proud of us." The Whisper launched at dawn. It jumped into the unknown, the first human ship to leave the hidden worlds in 300 years. Behind it, 8,000 warships waited for the signal. The silence was ending. Captain Leah brought the Whisper out of quantum jump at the edge of what used to be human space. Her hands were steady on the controls, but her heart beat fast. 300 years ago, her ancestors had fled from here in terror. Now she was back. "Scan for any vessels or installations," she ordered her crew. The Whisper was small, only 20 people aboard, but it had technology that made it nearly invisible to sensors. It could see without being seen, listen without being heard. "I'm picking up a trading station about 2 light hours from here," her sensor officer reported. "Multiple species signatures. Looks like a busy commercial hub." Leah studied the readings. The station sat in what used to be human mining territory. The asteroid field where human workers had once extracted rare metals now belonged to someone else. "Take us closer. Stay in stealth mode." As they approached, Leah watched the activity around the station. Ships came and went, carrying cargo between the stars. Aliens of different species worked together, traded, lived their lives. They had no idea a human ship was watching them. Leah listened to their communications, learning about the galaxy that had moved on without humanity. The collective still existed, but it had split into 3 competing factions. There was the Prime Collective, the Free Worlds Alliance, and the Outer Rim Coalition. They traded with each other, but also fought small wars over resources and territory. "They're not united anymore," Leah said to herself. "That's useful to know." Over the next weeks, the Whisper moved through known space like a ghost. Leah watched military patrols that were lazy and predictable. She saw technology that had advanced, but not as much as humanity's had. She observed a galaxy that had grown comfortable and safe. They had forgotten that the universe could be dangerous. After 2 months of observation, Leah decided it was time. She had gathered enough information. Admiral Tay needed to know what she had learned. But she also wanted to deliver a message. She chose a collective patrol near the border of what used to be human territory. 3 warships on a routine patrol, probably bored out of their minds. The patrol commander was named Vrax. He was old for his species, a veteran who had fought in the First Contact War 300 years ago. Most of his crew had not even been born when humans existed. Another quiet day, his second officer said. Sometimes I wonder why we even patrol out here. There's nothing dangerous this far from the core. Vrax remembered differently. He remembered fighting desperate human ships that would not surrender even when all hope was lost. He remembered the famous last stand at Titan's Gate. Stay alert, he ordered. Space is big and full of surprises. His words proved prophetic moments later when his sensors detected something impossible. Sir, I'm picking up a vessel. It just appeared on our scopes. But that's impossible. We should have detected it light years away. Vrax looked at his displays. A ship was there right in front of them. Small, sleek, using technology he did not recognize. Hail them, he ordered. His communications officer worked the controls. They're not responding, sir. Wait, now they are. I'm getting a transmission. A face appeared on the view screen. Vrax felt his blood turn cold. It was a human face. Captain Leah looked at the old alien commander through the view screen. She could see the recognition and fear in his eyes. Good. Let him be afraid. This is Captain Leah of the Human Expeditionary Fleet, she said clearly. We have returned. Vrax's bridge erupted in confusion. Officers shouted reports. Alarms began blaring. His second officer looked at him with wide eyes. Sir, that's impossible. Humans are extinct. They've been gone for 300 years. Obviously not, Vrax said quietly. He opened a channel. Human vessel. This is Commander Vrax of the Prime Collective. Where have you been? Watching, Leah replied. We've been watching you for a very long time. We know about your faction wars. We know about your trade disputes. We know about the 3 civil conflicts you've tried to keep secret. We know everything, Commander. Vrax felt a chill run through him. What do you want? To talk. Earth requests formal diplomatic contact. We will arrive at Terminus Station in 30 days. Prepare. Arrive? How many ships are you bringing? Leah smiled. It was not a friendly smile. Enough. Oh, and Commander? Don't try to follow us. You can't. The whisper vanished from their sensors as suddenly as it had appeared. Vrax's crew tried every scanning method they had, but the human ship was gone. Did they jump? His officer asked. I don't know, Vrax admitted. I've never seen technology like that. He immediately sent an emergency transmission to Collective Command. Within hours, his message had spread through all of civilized space. Humanity had returned. At first, many did not believe it. Humans were a myth, a story, a species that had been driven to extinction. But Commander Vrax was a respected officer with no history of false reports, and the recording he sent of Captain Leah's face was analyzed and confirmed as genuine. The Collective Council called an emergency session. Representatives from hundreds of worlds gathered in the Great Chamber on Terminus Station. They argued about what to do. We should send diplomats, some said. Find out what they want. We should send warships, others argued. They were dangerous before. They could be even more dangerous now. Where have they been? Everyone asked. How did they survive? How many of them are there? Ancient records were pulled from archives. Historians who specialized in the First Contact War were called to testify. Everyone wanted to understand what humanity had been and what they might have become. Vrax was called to speak before the council. He stood in the center of the Great Chamber and told them what he knew. 300 years ago, I fought against human ships at the Battle of Titan's Gate. They were brave but outmatched. We destroyed their fleet easily. We thought we had broken them forever. He paused. The human I spoke to today was different. She was confident. She was not afraid of our warships, and her technology is beyond anything we have. One ship does not make a threat, a council member said. She said they would arrive in 30 days with enough ships, Vrax replied. I believe her, and I believe we should be very careful about how we respond. The council debated for 3 days. Finally, they reached a decision. They would send a diplomatic delegation to meet the humans, but they would also gather a fleet just in case. Over the next 30 days, the galaxy prepared. News spread through every star system. Humans were coming back. Some species remembered them and grew nervous. Younger species who had never heard of humans grew curious. Terminus Station became the center of attention. Diplomats arrived from across the galaxy. Military vessels took up positions around the station. News reporters from 100 worlds set up equipment to broadcast the moment when humans would return. Ambassador Hyun stood on the bridge of the Remembrance, flagship of the diplomatic fleet. Around him were 30 human vessels, all showing clearly on sensors, all obviously advanced beyond anything the collective had. But Hyun knew something the collective did not. These 30 ships were just for show. The real fleet was hidden, waiting. "Sir, we're approaching Terminus Station," his pilot reported. "Sensors indicate 347 collective vessels in the area." "They're trying to show strength," Hyun smiled. "Let them. In a few minutes, they'll understand that numbers don't matter anymore." He straightened his uniform and prepared to make the speech that would change the galaxy forever. Behind him, invisible to all sensors, 8,000 human warships waited for his signal. The silence was over. Now came the reckoning. Terminus Station had been built 2,000 years ago by the founding members of the collective. It was enormous, a city in space where representatives from across the galaxy met to discuss trade and peace. Today it was surrounded by the largest gathering of warships in living memory. Ambassador Hyun watched through the viewport as his 30 ships approached the station. Around them, hundreds of collective vessels maintained formation. They were trying to intimidate him. It was not working. "Ambassador, they're hailing us," his communications officer said. "Put them through." An alien face appeared on the screen. Hyun recognized the species from his historical studies. This was Ambassador Kelvar, leader of the Prime Collective's diplomatic corps. "Human vessel, welcome to Terminus Station. We are prepared to discuss terms of your integration into galactic society." Hyun raised an eyebrow. "Integration? That's an interesting word. We're not here to integrate. We're here to negotiate as equals." Kelvar's expression showed confusion. "You have 30 ships. We have over 300 in this system alone. We have thousands more throughout our territory. Perhaps you misunderstand your position." "Perhaps you misunderstand yours," Hyun replied calmly. "But let's not argue in space. May I come aboard your station?" After a brief discussion, Kelvar agreed. Hyun took a shuttle to the station with 6 human guards. As they docked, he sent a subtle signal back to his fleet. Phase 1 was beginning. The diplomatic chamber was full. Representatives from dozens of species sat in rows, all watching as Hyun entered. Armed guards lined the walls. The message was clear. The collective was in control here. Hyun walked to the center of the chamber without showing any fear. His guards stood behind him, calm and professional. Ambassador Kelvar spoke first. "State your intentions. Where has humanity been? What do you want?" "We've been preparing," Hyun said simply. "As for what we want, that's straightforward. Recognition of human sovereignty, return of our original colony worlds, and reparations for the genocide your ancestors committed 300 years ago." The chamber erupted in angry voices. "Genocide? We gave you Earth! You started that war by expanding too aggressively. You have no right to make demands." Hyun waited for the noise to die down. Then he smiled. "I understand your surprise. Let me explain something about humanity that you may have forgotten. We're very good at learning from our mistakes." He activated a holographic projector. Images appeared in the air above him, showing the hidden human worlds. Cities and farms, shipyards and research centers, billions of people living and working across 14 star systems. While you were expanding and fighting among yourselves, we were building. While you grew comfortable and safe, we were training. While you forgot about us, we were watching you. Commander Vrax, sitting in the observers section, felt a cold certainty settle over him. He had been right to be afraid. "Your 30 ships are impressive," Kelvar said, "but we have thousands. You cannot threaten us. 30 ships?" Hyun laughed. It was not a pleasant sound. "Is that what you think this is? A show of force with 30 ships?" He pressed a button on his wrist device. All across collective space, human vessels decloaked simultaneously. Ships appeared from nowhere next to critical infrastructure, defense platforms, trade hubs, fuel depots, shipyards, communication relays, government buildings. 8,000 human warships, each one positioned exactly where it would hurt most. The displays in the diplomatic chamber showed the real-time positions. Every representative could see a human ship near something important to their homeworld. "We've been in your space for weeks," Hyun said into the stunned silence. "Your sensors never detected us. Your patrols never saw us. We could have destroyed you at any time. We chose not to. Do you understand why? Nobody answered. They were all staring at the displays in horror. Because we don't want war, Hyun continued. We've seen enough killing. We've lost enough people, but we will never ever be victims again. You can negotiate with us as equals or you can test our resolve. Choose carefully. Admiral Tae watched from the command deck of the Eternal Vigilance hidden just outside the system. His 8,000 ships were now visible, their weapons powered but not armed. A show of capability, not aggression. All ships report ready status, his officer said. Awaiting your orders. Hold position, Tae ordered. We're here to support the ambassador, not start a fight. But if anyone fires at our people, respond with everything we have. Back on Terminus Station, the collective council had gone into emergency session. They argued behind closed doors while Hyun waited patiently in the diplomatic chamber. Commander Vrax approached him during the recess. The old alien looked tired. I fought your ancestors, Vrax said quietly. I watched human ships burn. I thought we had done the right thing, protecting the galaxy from a dangerous species. And now? Hyun asked. Now I wonder if we created our own worst fear. If we had treated you as equals from the beginning, would you have needed to become this? Hyun considered the question. Maybe, maybe not. But that's history now. What matters is what we do next. What do you really want? Vrax asked. Revenge? Justice, Hyun corrected. There's a difference. We want the galaxy to acknowledge what was done to us. We want our homeworlds back. We want to be treated as equals. And we want guarantees that no one will ever try to exterminate us again. And if we give you this, then we become your best ally. We share our medical technology. We help protect trade routes. We contribute to galactic society. But we do it on our terms, not as supplicants begging for scraps. The council session lasted 6 hours. When the representatives finally returned to the chamber, they looked shaken but determined. Ambassador Kelvar spoke for them. We have reviewed your demonstration of capability. We acknowledge that the balance of power has shifted. The collective is prepared to negotiate a treaty. Over the next 3 days, they worked out the terms. Hyun proved to be a skilled negotiator, firm but not unreasonable. He knew when to push and when to compromise. The Treaty of Soul, as it came to be called, granted humanity everything they asked for. Full sovereign rights, return of the original colony worlds, which were mostly empty now anyway, a formal apology for the First Contact War, and most importantly, recognition as an equal power in galactic affairs. But Hyun also made concessions. Human ships would respect collective borders. Humanity would share select non-military technologies. Both sides would work together to maintain peace. This is not submission, Kelvar said as they signed the treaty. This is pragmatism. We can't defeat you, and you don't seem to want to conquer us, so we'll work together. Exactly, Hyun agreed. We learned something important during our 300 years alone. Power without cooperation is just tyranny. We don't want to rule the galaxy. We just want to be part of it. When the treaty was announced, the galaxy reacted with shock and then acceptance. Humanity was back. They were powerful, and they were not going away. On the Eternal Vigilance, Admiral Tae allowed himself a moment of satisfaction. All ships begin withdrawal to assigned patrol sectors. Maintain readiness but stand down from combat status. His 8,000 vessels began moving to their new positions, protecting human space and key trade routes. They had made their point. Now came the harder part, building trust. Hyun stood on the observation deck of Terminus Station, looking out at the stars. Behind him, humans and aliens walked past each other, beginning the awkward process of learning to coexist. Commander Vrax joined him. Your people are remarkable. To survive what you survived and come back stronger. We're survivors, Hyun said. It's what we do best. But we're also more than that. We're builders, dreamers. We want to be part of something larger than ourselves. Do your people really want peace? Vrax asked. Or is this just a strategy? Hyun turned to face him. Both, we want peace. We also want to be strong enough that no one can take it from us. Is that so wrong? Vrax thought about it. No, I suppose it's not. I just hope your leaders remember that peace requires more than just strength. They will, Hyun promised. We've spent 300 years preparing for war. Now we'll learn how to live in peace. But even as he said it, Hyun knew the truth. Humanity would never truly let its guard down again. the ships would keep patrolling. The weapons would stay ready. The hidden worlds would remain secret. They had been quiet for 300 years. They had returned, and they would never be helpless again. 2 years had passed since the Treaty of Sol. The galaxy was learning to live with humanity once again, and humanity was learning to live with the galaxy. Engineer Ara stood on the observation platform above Earth, watching the reconstruction of the orbital defense platforms. For 300 years, Earth had sat dark and silent, maintained by automated systems but empty of human life. Now people were coming home. The eastern platform is complete, her assistant reported. We're ahead of schedule on the western platform. The southern platform has some structural issues we're working through. Ara nodded, watching the construction robots work. The new platforms were far more advanced than the old ones. They used technology developed during the long silence, weapons and shields that made them nearly invulnerable. Make sure the weapon systems have multiple redundancies, she ordered. I want these platforms to be operational even if 90% of their systems fail. Isn't that a bit paranoid? Her assistant asked. Ara looked at him. He was young, born on one of the hidden worlds. He had never experienced war. My grandmother was on one of the platforms during the First Contact War. She survived 3 hours of constant bombardment before the platform was destroyed. If these had existed back then, she might not have needed to abandon ship. The young man fell silent, understanding. Across human space, similar reconstruction was happening. The old colony worlds were being reclaimed. Mars was being rebuilt. The asteroid mining facilities were operational again. Humanity was visible in the galaxy once more, but not everything was peaceful. Admiral Day II commanded the Joint Patrol Initiative, a program where human and collective ships worked together to protect trade routes from pirates. It was meant to build trust between former enemies. It was not going well. The collective cruiser is maintaining distance, his officer reported. They're keeping their weapons powered, Day sighed. They had been patrolling together for 2 weeks, and the collective crew still treated his ship like a threat. He opened a communication channel. Collective Cruiser Harmony, this is Admiral Day. Are we going to keep dancing around each other, or are we going to actually work together? After a long pause, Commander Vrax's face appeared on the screen. The old warrior had volunteered for this assignment, believing that former enemies should lead the path to peace. Apologies, Admiral. My crew is still adjusting to having human vessels nearby. Your crew isn't the only one adjusting, Day admitted. My people still have nightmares about ships like yours. But we're all trying. How about we meet in person? Share a meal? Talk about something other than war? Vrax looked surprised, then nodded. That would be acceptable. 2 hours later, Day and 3 of his officers met Vrax and his crew in the Harmony's dining area. The meeting was awkward at first. Both sides watched each other carefully, hands never far from weapons. But then Vrax started telling stories about his younger days exploring uncharted systems. Day shared stories about growing up on New Earth, under orange skies and purple oceans. Slowly, the tension eased. You're not what I expected, Vrax admitted. I thought humans would be angry, vengeful. Some of us are, Day said honestly. But most of us are just tired of fighting. We want to build something better. I hope you succeed, Vrax said, for all our sakes. Meanwhile, on Athens, Dr. Yuna was preparing for the most controversial decision of her career. She stood before the Human Science Council, ready to present her proposal. I want to share our medical technology with the collective, she announced. The room exploded with objections. They tried to kill us. Why should we help them? Our technology is our advantage. Yuna waited for the noise to die down. Listen to me. There's a plague spreading through the outer rim. Millions are dying. We have the cure. Are we really going to let people die because of politics? Those aren't our people, someone argued. They're people, Yuna said firmly. And if we want the galaxy to see us as something other than a threat, we need to show compassion. Power makes people fear you. Compassion makes them trust you. We need both. The vote was close, but Yuna won. Within weeks, human medical teams were working in collective space fighting the plague. It saved millions of lives and changed how many species viewed humanity. But not everyone agreed with this approach. Commander Kwan sat in a secret meeting room on Valhalla Station with 50 other military officers. They called themselves the Remember Forever movement, and they believed that peace with the collective was a mistake. We're giving away our advantages, Kwan argued. Medical technology today, what tomorrow? Our weapon systems? Our ship designs? They'll learn everything we know and then attack us again. The treaty guarantees peace, one officer said. Treaties are just paper, Quan replied. They can be broken. My great-grandfather fought in the First Contact War. He told stories to my grandfather who told them to me. I will never forget what they did to us, and I will make sure humanity is ready when they betray us again. The movement began secretly moving ships and resources. They established hidden supply depots. They continued developing weapons in black site laboratories. They prepared for a war they believed was inevitable. The crisis came 18 months into the new peace. A collective faction called the Red Suns, angry about humanity's return to power, decided to make a statement. They attacked a human research facility on the edge of human space, trying to steal military technology. The raid was a disaster for the Red Suns. Human defense systems destroyed 3 of their ships and captured 2 more. But the damage was done. Trust had been broken. The human population reacted with rage. Protests erupted across the 14 worlds. People demanded retaliation. Commander Quan and his movement called for a military response. President Nari II faced the hardest decision of her administration. She could order a military strike which would satisfy the angry population, but probably restart the war. Or she could show restraint, which might make humanity look weak. She chose a third path. Nari contacted the Prime Collective leadership directly. The Red Suns attacked us. We could destroy them easily, but we're giving you a choice. Deal with them yourselves, show us that you're serious about peace, or we'll do it for you. The collective leadership understood the threat. They moved quickly, arresting Red Sun's leadership and dismantling their organization. They paid reparations to humanity and publicly apologized for the attack. It was not perfect justice, but it preserved the peace. Quan was furious. We should have struck them. We're showing weakness. But Dr. Yuna disagreed. We're showing strength. It takes more courage to choose peace than war. Anyone can pull a trigger. It takes real strength to find another way. The debate divided humanity. Some sided with Quan, believing that eternal vigilance required eternal military supremacy. Others sided with Yuna, believing that cooperation was humanity's best chance for long-term survival. President Nari met with both of them privately. Quan stood rigid, angry. Yuna looked tired but determined. You both have valid points, Nari said. Quan, you're right that we can never be defenseless again. The galaxy has shown us what happens to the weak. But Yuna, you're also right that we can't live in a state of constant paranoia. We have to find balance. There is no balance with people who tried to exterminate us, Quan said. Then we create one, Nari replied. We build relationships while maintaining our strength. We share some things while keeping others secret. We trust, but we verify. We hope for peace, but we prepare for war. She turned to Yuna. Continue your medical programs. Continue building bridges. Show the galaxy we can be partners, not just threats. Then she turned to Quan. Continue your preparations. Keep our military strong. Maintain the hidden facilities and backup plans, because you're right that we need to be ready. You're trying to please everyone, Quan said. I'm trying to keep humanity alive, Nari corrected. And that means being strong enough to fight and wise enough not to. Can you both accept that? After a long moment, they both nodded. As they left, Nari stood alone in her office, looking at a picture of the first President Nari, her ancestor who had made the choice to go silent 300 years ago. Was this what you imagined? She asked the picture. Is this the future you hoped for? The picture offered no answers. Nari would have to find her own way, balancing hope and fear, trust and vigilance, peace and preparedness. Outside her window, human and alien ships passed each other in orbit, working together to unload supplies. The sight should have been hopeful. But Nari noticed that both sides kept their shields raised and their weapons ready. Trust was being built, slowly and carefully. But nobody was letting their guard down. Maybe that was the best they could hope for. A galaxy where humanity lived in peace but was always ready for war, where they extended friendship but kept weapons close. It was not perfect, but it was survival. And for humanity, survival had always been enough. Commander Day stood on the bridge of the warship Defiant, watching his fleet die. Outside the viewport, Earth's ships burned like candles in the dark. The enemy had too many vessels, too many weapons, and too much experience fighting wars across the stars. "Sir, we've lost the Thunder and the Morning Star," his officer reported. The young man's voice shook. "The colony ship New Dawn is calling for help." Day closed his eyes for a moment. The New Dawn carried 15,000 civilians, families, children, people who had done nothing wrong except be born human. "Tell all combat ships to form up around the colony vessels," he ordered. "We buy them time to run." The battle had been going on for 6 hours. 6 hours of humanity, throwing everything they had at the Collective's fleet. The Collective was made up of 5 alien species who had ruled the galaxy for thousands of years. They had decided that humans were too dangerous, too aggressive, too fast at spreading across the stars. So they came to push humanity back into their corner of space. But pushing back had turned into extermination. Captain Hana's voice crackled over the communications channel from the New Dawn. "Day, we can't escape. They've got us surrounded. I'm going to try to break through the left flank." "Negative, Hana. Wait for us to clear a path. There's no time. Tell my daughter I love her." Day watched helplessly as the New Dawn tried to punch through the enemy line. The colony ship was massive and slow, designed for carrying people across the stars, not for fighting. The Collective's warships tore into it like wolves on a deer. The New Dawn broke apart in a flash of white light. 15,000 people gone in an instant. Day felt something break inside him, but he kept his face calm. His crew needed him to be strong. "All ships continue covering the retreat. Make every shot count." On Earth below, the orbital defense platforms were falling. Humanity had built them over decades. Massive stations with enough firepower to defend the homeworld. But the Collective had more ships than Earth had bullets. President Nari sat in the emergency bunker deep beneath the capital. Reports flooded in from every front. Mars colony was lost. The station at Titan was burning. The asteroid mining facilities had gone silent. Everywhere humanity had reached in 300 years of space exploration was being destroyed or captured. Her chief advisor, an old general named Tay, stood beside her. "Madam President, we have to consider the silent protocol." Nari looked at him with tired eyes. She had not slept in 3 days. "If we activate it, we abandon everything, Earth, Mars, all our colonies. If we don't activate it, humanity goes extinct," Tay said quietly. "We can't win this fight. Not today. Maybe not for a long time. But if we run, if we hide, we can survive. We can prepare." Nari thought about all the people who had died believing in humanity's future among the stars. She thought about the children who would grow up in hiding, never seeing Earth's blue sky. She thought about the shame of running. Then she thought about survival. "Activate the silent protocol," she ordered. Across human space, secret programs came to life. Every ship received encrypted orders. Every colony got the same message. Every human installation began erasing its navigation data, destroying any information that could lead the enemy to where humanity would hide. The survivors had 30 hours to gather and run. Day received the orders and felt relief mixed with grief. Relief that some would survive. Grief for all they were leaving behind. "All ships, new orders," he broadcast. "We're going home. Full retreat to Rally Point Omega. Maximum speed." The remaining human warships turned and fled. The Collective's forces let them go, satisfied that the threat had been contained. On Earth, the evacuation was chaos. Ships landed and took off every few minutes, cramming as many people aboard as possible. Not everyone could leave. There were not enough ships, not enough time. Nari addressed the planet one last time. Her face appeared on every screen, every device, every piece of technology humanity had. "My fellow humans," she began. "Today we face our darkest hour. The Collective has beaten us. They have destroyed our colonies and killed our people. They want us to disappear. And so we will disappear. But we are not giving up. We are not surrendering. We are learning." She paused, looking directly into the camera. "To those who must stay behind on Earth, I'm sorry. We will not forget you. To those who come with us into the dark, I promise you this. We will return. Maybe not in my lifetime. Maybe not in your children's lifetime. But humanity will return to the stars, and when we do, we will be ready." The last ships lifted off from Earth's surface. They met up with the surviving warships at the edge of the solar system. In total, about 2 million humans had escaped. Out of 12 billion, Day watched Earth shrink in the viewport. The beautiful blue world where humanity was born. The collective said they would let humans keep Earth but nothing else. A cage for a species they thought was broken. They did not know about the silent protocol's final stage. Hidden systems all across Earth activated. The planet went dark. Every broadcast stopped. Every light turned off. Every signal ceased. Automated systems took over, designed to make Earth look abandoned, lifeless, not worth visiting. The last human transmission from Earth was simple. Nari had recorded it herself. "We will remember." The fleet of survivors jumped into the unknown, heading for coordinates only a few people knew. Secret charts to hidden star systems that had been explored but never colonized. Places where humanity could hide and grow and learn. Behind them, the collective's forces celebrated. The dangerous species had been dealt with. The galaxy was safe again. The collective's ambassador, a being named Vrax from the ancient Terminus Accord, gave a speech that was broadcast across civilized space. "Let this be a lesson to all who would disturb the peace. Humanity reached too far too fast. They paid the price for their ambition. They are a cautionary tale of what happens when wisdom does not match strength." The galaxy agreed. Humanity was finished. But in the dark between the stars, 2 million survivors traveled to their new home. They carried with them the knowledge of their civilization, the memory of their dead, and a burning desire to never be helpless again. The silence had begun. It would last 300 years. And when it ended, the galaxy would learn that humanity had not been hiding. They had been preparing,